Hey everybody, it's Bridget Murphy back again. I'm very excited today. We have one of our clients, Bailey, and our trainer, Trey from Austin, here to talk to you about Bailey's dog, Caruso. This was an awesome success story that we really wanted to share with all of you. So we're just going to kick it off and get started. Bailey, tell me a little bit about yourself and Caruso and how you found us.
Thanks, Bridget. Yeah, I am from Austin originally and got Caruso about 3 years ago. And he was a stray that was in a shelter for a long time. And when we got him from Houston, he definitely had, a lot of things physical and emotional that he was kind of going through. And as we got him healthier and wanted to take him out more and get him more experience and socialized, we found it really difficult because he was really reactive to other dogs. He, was very fearful, and it wasn't a place of aggression, but it did, manifest itself as aggression when a dog would get inside his personal space and he wasn't comfortable with that. And it became really difficult to take him out and about and create a lot of anxiety for myself when I would walk him and I'd see another dog. I'd be, okay, I gotta go across the street, or I have to turn around or figure out, some way to get out of the situation so that he wouldn't get too upset or get aggressive or anything like that. And it was definitely a thing that I wanted to help him overcome, but I did not know how to do it. I got to a point where I was like, I need some expert help. And was doing some digging and some researching and found Koru, and they connected me with Haley and Trey. And from there, it was super easy. Got a appointment set with him to, go and do a board and stay with Haley and Trey. And I mean, he came back and he was completely different, but we'll get there, I'm sure, in this conversation.
I love it already. Now you mentioned, first of all, I love that you said that you wanted to get training so that he would feel better. I think quite often it's owners just trying to control the chaos in their own lives. So it's really amazing that you realized that his reactivity was due to him not feeling confident and comfortable. I love that you said that. Now, had you guys tried training prior to that?
So I tried to do it myself. And, I've grown up with dogs and fostering dogs, and I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with them. But this was definitely a different experience. Had never experienced a dog this reactive. And, I would use all the online resources, but you get some people saying this, some people saying don't do that. And it got really confusing. And I think, some things I was trying to do were helping, but some things I was doing weren't helping. And that's where I think you really need to approach, an expert that knows, what they're working with and knows, they've seen this before, and they can help navigate that.
Yeah, that's it's what's amazing is that you did have that background and you got him as far as you could go. So let's ask the expert, Trey. Let's have you do a quick intro on yourself. Haley isn't able to join us today. She is getting ready. She's cooking their baby. So she's getting ready to have a baby in a few weeks. So we have Trey today. So Trey, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your first thought on Bailey and Caruso.
Well, when I first met Caruso, I could tell he just lacked a little bit of confidence, and just a little fearful. Like Bailey said, it manifested himself in a little bit of aggressive. He liked to get preemptive about things when he saw something he didn't like. And it wasn't very long into meeting Caruso that I noticed if he had a job to do, he was all in, and he could ignore a lot of those things. And then after that, it was just getting practice and reps in with him, so he could get better at doing his job. And he turned out to be pretty good at it.
So how long did it take him to kind of trust you, Trey? I mean, was he kind of fearful of you or just unsure what to do? I mean, obviously you had to set up some kind of structure for him for the first time. How long did that take before you saw him kind of turn around and start the light bulb goes off?
Yeah, I would say now that you mentioned that, it did take about a week. He like warmed up to Haley super fast, but with me, he was a little bit shyer, and so it did take about a week and a half to earn his trust, and then he was all in.
Gotcha. So now, what kind of communication tools do we end up having to use with him to get structured walks and recall and all that stuff?
With Caruso, we started with a prong collar. I think he was a little bit of a puller, and so he needed a little bit of direction, something to get his attention a little bit more. And so we started off with the prong collar, and then we ended up layering over the e-collar. And so he did really well with that. I think he was actually kind of sensitive at the end of it. Yeah, prong collar and e-collar all the way.
That's awesome. Bailey, so when you were doing your research, when you're trying to do it yourself in the beginning, tell me what you kind of came across that might have spooked you. You know, when I tell people, you know, when you first get a dog, don't go on the internet for training advice, because you're either going to scare yourself, confuse yourself, or both. When you were researching, you know, what did you hear about prong collars and balanced dog training and shock collars and all those type of things? What did you see in your research, and what did you hear from the shelters?
That's a great question, and that's where I really confused myself, to your point, and scared myself. Initially, you know, I was doing the research, and prong collar and e-collar was something that I kind of thought about, but then, you know, I see all these posts and all these different folks saying, oh, it hurts the dog, it's not good for the dog, it, you know, it's going to make the problems worse, and make them scared of you, all these different things. And I was like, well, that's really scary. I don't want him scared of me as well as scared of everything else. And, you know, I don't want to hurt him for sure. And so I was using like a harness to walk him. And I think that kind of reinforced actually the opposite to Trey's point, is that I think it reinforced to pull, because he wasn't really getting any kind of reinforcement not to pull. He was just like, oh, you know, the harness is comfy, I'm just going to pull, and drag you where I want us to go, you know, on walks. And I think, you know, this is why you got to go to the experts, because Trey knew right away, you know, get a prong collar involved, get an e-collar, and, you know, really did the trick with communicating with him. And he's not scared of me. He's not scared of Trey. He loves the prong collar and e-collar. It gives him direction. And I think it really helped.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's unfortunate, the bummer out there about the misinformation with those tools. So it's awesome to hear that, you know, you took that and just ran with it. Now, Bailey, how we started to touch on this when you first started talking about Caruso. Let's talk about what your life was like before training and what's life like now.
Yeah, it's really a night and day. You know, before training, walks were something that I definitely started to dread. I live in a pretty densely populated area right next to a dog park, so there's dogs everywhere. And it became one of those things where I almost had to time my walks at, you know, oh, well, it's kind of late now. Probably no one's going to be outside. I can take him for a walk and not have to worry about any other dogs crossing paths or anything like that. And it really became focusing my routine around not inconveniencing him or not getting him in situations that would be confrontational or kind of create stress for him. And then afterwards, after the 4-week board and train with Haley and Trey, I mean, it's completely different. Now I can walk him, you know, whenever I feel like it, and take him out and about. And now we actually take him every weekend. We do an outing. Either we take him to cafe, coffee shop, or take him to a park. You know, I like to get out and try different, you know, food trucks and stuff like that. So I'll take him with me and not have to worry about, oh, well, there's other people or kids or dogs, I can't take him. Now it's very easy just to throw the prong collar and e-collar on, make sure I have my dog treats, and head out and, you know, just work with him and make sure that he, you know, knows that I'm there for him and that, you know, no issues are going to come up. And he's been really great. I mean, he's not had any issues with other dogs, kids. I mean, every situation he's been in, he's been totally perfect and just, looking for me for, hey, we good? Is everything all right? Not showing any aggression. I mean, it's been truly night and day. It made my life a lot easier and a lot better for him too. He's a lot happier. So
That's so cool to hear. Trey, this question is for you. I know you get a lot of clients that are probably unsure or probably read a bunch of garbage online that scared themselves about using, prong collars or e-collars or any kind of tool for that matter. How do you explain to somebody the need for these communication tools, when you've got a neighbor who maybe have a golden retriever who walks on a flexi lead on a harness, and why does my dog have to have all this garbage on his neck? Like, how do you explain the need for some of these communication tools?
That's a good question. Well, I guess if I show up, it obviously wasn't working, but the dogs definitely do need some direction, and I just talk about how those other tools can't give direction in the same way, and maybe some of those dogs need like maybe a small correction or something like that, and that's also something the harness can't do. But we also talk about like all the tools, and we talk about their pros and cons, their weaknesses, and what we can and can't do with them. And I usually go over all the goop you see online, like, not going to have any problems out of this prong collar, even though you might see things online that are bad about them. And yeah, I know I mentioned Caruso was like a sensitive dog, but for me, that's kind of like a good thing. If you have a sensitive dog and you're very skilled with your leash handling skills, you can use less amounts of pressure, little bits of pulling, and little bits of giving direction. So
great. Bailey, how have you changed the way you live with Caruso now? Like, I mean, do you have the structure in your house? I mean, do you guys have a whole new set of rules? And I guess, what's your structure look like these days versus when you brought him home?
yeah, the structure is definitely different. There's still some things that are the same, but as far as rules and structure, there's a lot more of it. After working with Haley and Trey, in the go home session, they really walked me through, hey, he knows his place now. This is his place. He needs to get used to that. And it's a good spot for him to be. And that's a place that's like his own. And so working that into our daily routine, he's actually been in his place while we're on this call, next to me in my office. And he goes there before feedings. He goes there, if I'm in here working and I want to have him near me and just kind of work together on that place, he'll come in here and he loves it. And it allows me to kind of have a bit more control of him in the house. If someone comes over and they aren't really sure about him, it gives me a tool to use to kind of get him out of the situation and not be all up in the new person's face or kind of, create any kind of stress for the guest or for him. And, as I mentioned with walks, a lot more structure in getting him to sit, to stay, doing recall while we're on walks, really trying to use it as a training session and get those reps in, so that he's, on top of his game and he doesn't have to worry about, oh, wait, what was that command again? Or what do you want me to do in this situation? I don't know. So there's a lot more structure, and he, you'd think, oh, well, he must be a miserable dog because of all the structure. Opposite, exact opposite. He loves having things to do. To Trey's point, he loves having a job and feeling important. So it's been really, really great having him around now.
I was going to ask what the job was. So this is the human side of training that we always like to ask about, because the dogs, he probably picked it up in 2 seconds with Trey and Haley, but then he comes home to you. How was that adjustment? Did you find, you mentioned earlier that he's been really great. Did you find he tested you at all? Because dogs will, your condition, he knows you as you were before the board and train. So did he test you at all? And then how was it for you incorporating all the homework and training into your daily life? Did you find it overwhelming, kind of easy? What was that like for you?
Yeah, your question on, does he test me? tests me all the time. Every day is a test. He always wants to see, hey, can I get away with this today? Is it today going to be the day that I can not do that or not listen to you or anything? And it's tough because, I want him to feel happy and confident, but also to know that like, hey, like you gotta follow my lead, not the other way around. So it's definitely tough. It was tough for me to switch my mindset from, oh, my dog needs to be able to do whatever he wants to be happy, to no, other way around. It's my responsibility to give him structure and to, train him and get those reps with him for him to feel confident on a daily basis and to know that I've got his back. He can trust me to, handle the situation and everything. And so it's definitely been an adjustment mentally for me and emotionally to kind of say, hey, I got to be the boss. I can't, let him run wild. And for him to kind of accept that and say, hey, I can't get away with everything I want to like I used to. This is a new day, and I got to listen to my owner. And but it's been good. It's been really healthy, and it's given him, again, as Trey mentioned, a lot more confidence, and he's a much happier dog.
That's so cool to hear. What advice would you give other dog owners out there that are, they kind of did the internet thing, or the shelter told them not to do these things, and they're really frustrated and concerned, but they just don't want to take that step to train? They're basically doing the thing that you were doing, like avoiding people or walking at 3 a.m. or keeping their dog in the backyard. What advice would you give them?
My advice would be to definitely seek out a trainer. And I think I think that they think they're helping their dog by avoiding these conflicting situations or these situations that cause anxiety. But in reality, you're just kind of making the problem worse by not helping them overcome these daily, occurrences. And they shouldn't have to go every day anxious about these daily things that happen. I definitely recommend reach out to somebody, reach out to Koru. They'll help you find a trainer. It's holding you back and your dog back from being more happy and more confident and being able to live your life as you want to live it, and instead kind of doing it at the whim of your dog's feelings and not helping them, but work on those feelings and get confident and not having to avoid, those situations.
Yeah, that's tough for a lot of people to understand, that really you're learning to speak dog, right? I mean, you're communicating and you're doing things that benefit the dog, not necessarily what feels good for the human sometimes. And that's why, Born Train is really great, because it gives the opportunity to kind of reset everything outside of your home and environment. So when you come back, that heavy lifting's already kind of done for you. Trey, I know this has got to be pretty satisfying to see, the feedback and the fruit of your work, but we've asked this from a lot of our trainers, is the why. Why did you get into training, and what is your reason that you wanted to start training dogs?
My reason for getting into dog training is really my middle dog, Shark. I really wanted to put some effort into him when I was raising him as a puppy, and he turned out to become pretty reactive when he was with me, and he would bark at stuff. He was fearful. I think that really sparked my training journey when I first got him. And I had to work through all this stuff with him when he was young before I had ever worked with clients. And yeah, it feels really good to come full circle and help people with things that I had to struggle with him before as well.
Yeah, that's the whole reason Koru exists. I mean, same story for us. It was our dog Luna. She was a disaster, behavioral disaster. She was fearful, reactive, trying to bite everything. And so we wanted to give back to people what we had with her after we put her through training. So, or after we learned how to train ourselves. So yeah, same with us. So Bailey, our dog, was very much like Caruso. She was a lot back then. Bailey, so you answered a lot of the questions that I had. Would you say, I know what your answer is likely going to be, would you say the investment is worth it? Would you do it again? And would you recommend people to get training? And I guess also segue that question, would you recommend people get training, to when would you recommend people get training?
Yes, yeah, those are great questions. So I'll start with the first part. Was it worth the investment? 1,000%. That's actually what I've told everybody that I've talked to after they've known Caruso before training and after training, and they're like, wow, he's so great. I'm like, it's worth it. Like, if you have a dog and you aren't sure, there are things that you're working with your dog and it's not quite taking, or you're concerned about what you read on the internet, it's 1,000% worth the investment, because it's going to give you so much peace of mind, and it's going to make your dog so much happier. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Like, you have your dog years and years, right? To go that long and have to every day wake up and worry about these interactions and the anxiety and all that stuff, it's the peace of mind alone is worth it. And then when should somebody get training? I wish I'd done training 2 years ago. I think after a year of having Caruso, and once he got, over the physical stuff of, being malnourished and heartworms and all that stuff, and he was physically healthy, and I noticed that he still wasn't really, the reactivity was there, and it was kind of creating some issues with taking him out and getting him socialized. And then my daily routine, go ahead and call Koru, call someone, call a trainer, call an expert, start kind of looking for an opportunity to get that, that helped. Just like you take your dog to the vet once they start showing signs of physical illness. If they're showing signs of emotional, distress or mental distress, go ahead and call an expert. I mean, there's no need to wait. You're kind of doing yourself a disservice and your dog a disservice in doing that.
That's so beautifully put. Speaking of, we've been talking about him the whole time. Can you turn your camera so we can see him? Or is he, he's on the clock, I guess. Oh, wait, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, I can show him here. So here's Caruso. I don't know if I can see him. But yeah, he's 50 pounds, a little staffy pit bull mix. And he's just been so good. Yes, good boy. Yes. And he's been so great since we got him back. I mean, he was great before, but Trey and Haley made him greater, which is, exactly what we wanted.
I absolutely love this. Trey and Haley, even though she's not on the phone. I mean, not only did you guys do an exceptional job with Caruso, but I think the training that you gave Bailey, if you ever want to become a dog trainer, just let us know. Like, watching you with him, it was awesome. Bailey, do you have any other final thoughts? So we were going to wrap this up, so we want to be respectful of your time, but Trey or Bailey, do you guys have any other final thoughts on anything, or?
I'll go first, Trey, if you don't mind. And I just want to say, final thoughts is thank you so much, all of y'all, for making this possible. It really has made, mine and Caruso's life so much better and easier. And it's able to give him, the world's bigger for him now. The world was so small before, like we were so confined in our apartment, in our space. Now he's able to go out and about, and it's really, making me emotional, thinking about how great it is that he can live out the rest of his years confident, and that means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to work with him. I love hearing the feedback, and this is what I do this for. So thank you guys too for that. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so now I'm getting ready to cry. That was awesome. Bailey, Trey, thank you both so much for all your time. Bailey, thank you for trusting us. I know this isn't an easy decision for people, and it can be a lot of money for some people as well. And we're very grateful to you and all of our clients who trust us, because I know it's not easy. So thank you. And we're always here for you. So, and I'm sure you guys know that. You can contact Trey or us at any time. But for those of you out there that may have a dog like Caruso, give us a call. We are happy to answer any questions or help you. You can look us up on all the social profiles at Koru K9, our website, KoruK9.com. And thank you for your time. We will see you all again very soon.